This is some Bob Ross shit. It's morning and we've woken up in Ullapool. And you might be wondering, why would you go to Ullapool? Have you heard how you say that word? It just sounds awesome. I seriously just saw the word on a map and was like, yeah, we should probably stay there. I like that word. And that's why we're here. And we're staying here for 2 days. Right now we're just kind of walking around the city center. I don't think that Ullapool is a very big place, nor a very epic place, nor anything super important, but it's Ullapool. Eric just pointed out the really nice view. It's beautiful, okay? We're heading back into the wilderness, so we've decided that we need to pack up on snacks, make sure that we're not going to die out there, because there was no food. No food at all. We stopped, we looked, we would have had to hunt. There were tons of deer that we could have hit with the car and then eaten, but wow. So we're at the Tesco and got all of our stuff, we got in line. I paid the lady with my credit card, and then she pops 2 of these in my hand with the receipt. What are these? What does this do? So I was just like, all right, thanks.
And it's not our first time to Tesco, that's the thing.
It's not our first time in a Tesco. Is it our first time in a Tesco with a parking lot?
Maybe? I don't know.
Or with shopping carts? Or do I redeem these for some sort of sweet treat? If I collect all 10 or something, do I get something? What is this? Yeah, no idea.
Look at this sign. I can read half of it, and the other half of it, I guess, is Gaelic, but good Lord, is that a word? This morning, after we got some snacks at Tesco, we headed out of Ullapool, and we actually headed back north the direction that we came from last night, because we wanted to see some of the landscape that we had missed after it had gotten dark. And we're just driving out here, and I mean, it's remarkable looking as usual. And we came across this big lake, and we're like, oh, that's a really cool lake. And then we're like, what's that in the distance? And we got closer, and then we parked, and we came out to it, and it's a castle. And it's an old castle that we don't have a whole lot of information about. This is just here, and you can just go up to it. It's like, it's not a big thing. It's not like there's like a place to pay to come up and like look at the historic artifacts. It's just here in the field. I can't fathom that this thing is just sitting here like this, looking so amazing.
Eric, I'm taking it back for the marshals. We came around the back, and it's just like, it's all fallen into the ground. And I didn't really realize when we were walking up here, I thought, oh, those are just rocks that have been here forever. It's actually parts of the castle that have fallen into the ground, and almost feels like the castle's creating its own graveyard. And slowly the rocks are getting covered by moss, and the world is eating this. It's almost like Angkor Wat, where the nature is meeting the unnatural. It's very much like that, and it feels kind of creepy and weird, and that these two things shouldn't meet.
You coming to the dungeon with me?
No?
We came around this corner coming up a hill, and we saw this like rather distinct feature sticking up out of the ground, and it's a little like mountain type thing, and on the top of it's a little bit of snow. And
I said it looks like you could walk up that.
So
it does. Even right now, I'm like, it looks like you could walk up it.
So we pulled over, and we got out of the car, and we don't have internet. Let me clarify that. So there's no way for us to really like look up like the height of it or anything like that on the internet. So we looked at the saved map that, you know, you can't zoom very deeply. It doesn't give you like high definition or anything. And we saw kind of an area on the map that kind of looks like maybe that's the top of the mountain. And we were like, okay, it's like a kilometer, I guess. So we're gonna see if we can go. And instantly we just walked out and we were like, oh, there's a river here, and like, are we gonna be able to get down and all this? So I don't know if we're gonna be able to make it all the way up there, but I think we're gonna give it a go, yeah? Are you in?
I don't think it's possible.
Really?
Yes, there is a river between us and that. This is not Oregon Trail. I did not bring my ox. We are going to break a wheel.
It's really not that bad getting across this little river. This is actually the second time I did it, because a minute ago I shot the whole thing and then my memory card filled. I lost the whole shot. So I had to do it again, and that's where we're at now. But yeah, I mean, it's not a huge body of water. It's just a little thing like this. Katie's a little bit up ahead. I think we can do this. We got this. We're gonna get to the top of that mountain. The ground we're walking on feels so strange. It's like firm at first, and then when your weight gets put into it, it just squishes down.
And then the grass crunches.
Yeah.
Crunchy grass, squidgy ground.
It almost feels like it's like kind of frozen a little bit, but not enough to hold up my weight. Woo!
When I look up at the mountain, I can see like little steamy, wavy lines going horizontally, and I'm pretty sure it's just a mirage. And that the mountain will continue to get farther. The helicopter is coming, Eric Klein. Look, it's right next to us. Are we getting in trouble?
Oh, what is this? That's really strange.
What the hell? That was really bizarre.
That might be a mirage. The squidginess of the ground has gotten a lot worse. My feet are pretty wet now. We don't have shoes for this. That's not what we came prepared with.
And I was sitting here thinking, oh, you know, at least it's dry. Huh.
My feet are totally not dry anymore.
Yeah.
It's not horrible, but like you can stand someplace for a fraction of a second before you start sinking and getting wet and you have to step again.
It's really weird terrain.
It's a strange feeling terrain, yeah. And to give you an idea on temperature, my body's all right because I'm moving so much. I'm like dying actually, I'm really sweaty. But the ground is frozen in some places, like there's ice there still. So it is like, it's still a little bit chilly up here. Kind of wish I'd left some of my coats behind. But we looked at the top and we're like, snow, maybe it'll be really cold. Katie put on extra gloves and stuff. It feels like the car's getting further away, but the mountain isn't getting closer.
Don't be snowballing.
The higher you go, the less squidgy the ground becomes and the more rocks you get to walk on. And now we're walking on, now we're walking on like a sheet of a rock. And it is quite a delight after the marsh stuff that we were tromping through before. The bad news is, this isn't a one-way trip. It's cool how the sheet of ice has got water flowing underneath of it. Katie looks at it and she goes, looks like sperm.
I don't know if we've hit the halfway point yet. I'm a little sweaty. Car looks like an ant. Top of the mountain looks like a boulder now instead of a pebble. Feeling right there in the middle of keep going, don't keep going. I gotta pee.
You feel a lot like kind of how I've heard astronauts describe the moon, where it's really difficult to judge distance because there's no trees and there's nothing that like makes sense. Like there's boulders and rocks, but you don't know how big they are, so you can't tell how far away they are. So we're looking at the top of this mountain and it really doesn't feel like it's getting any closer really. But I know how big the car is, and the car has gotten really, really small. So I think that's just creating this illusion. We'll be at the top in no time, dude. It's like 5 minutes, it's another 5 minutes.
Another 5 minutes, okay. So I was walking past this sheet of ice here and I heard like a crack. And I expected to look to my left and see something moving. And all I saw was this sheet of ice, and obviously something underneath unlocked. Something under there got warm and melted and shifted. And that made me realize, that's how avalanches work. What's underneath no longer is supported, but yet it's so heavy, it's just going to let gravity start moving it. And once a large chunk of snow or ice or whatever starts to move, it hits other ones. And if they're anywhere near loose, it's all going down. So I feel like I'm in a very safe environment to have learned about avalanches at this scale.
Katie, like a scientist or something. We're good, dude. Just 5 more minutes.
Not if we're gonna learn about avalanches.
Just 5 more minutes, y'all. So we're at a point again where we can't really see the goalpost, which was like the tip of that mountain. So we're thinking like, are we gonna get to where the top where we can see now and it's gonna dip back down and that's a totally another mountain? Or is it just like a trick the way the landscape is laid out and this is gonna keep sloping upwards? And the conclusion I think we both come to is if we get to the top of this and this is the top of the mountain and it dips down and all that nonsense, we're gonna go to the top of this mountain and call it a day. But if it keeps sloping up and I think we can still get there without like a significant dip down, it's gonna be hard to stop me at this point. Cause I mean, whew, it's really only like 5 more minutes, so we can do it.
I've blown like 3 snot rockets on the way up here. It makes absolutely no sense that my body is like, you know what you need on this hike up the mountain? You just need mucus all over your face. That would protect you against something. I mean, we're really taking care of a big issue by just moisturizing your face with your own snot.
I got news for you, dude. You got a bat in the hanger right now.
I know, man. Oh.
The point that we saw earlier that looked like it might be the top of this mountain, we've just come over like the crest a little bit and you can see it's not the top of this mountain yet. So we're gonna keep going, nothing's going down.
How does this happen?
What?
Oh, where did the rocks come from? Why would they just crumble like this? Was there a castle here? And the castle just exploded? I know something about like geology and stuff like that. But I'm not.
Avalanches.
I'm no wizard. Oh goodness. Oh dear.
The top of the mountains got significantly bigger in our view. I still can't tell if there's a dip down before we get to it though. It's a really weird like perspective that we have coming up this thing. What do you think, dip down or no?
I think we won't know until we walk over there. Yeah.
Okay, not making any bets on this one?
No, I make no bets on this mountain.
We made it to essentially the top of this peak, which is not the goal peak that we were hoping to find. The goal peak is behind us. And we stood here for like 10 minutes going, how far does it look? Does it look, maybe it's like 20 minutes, maybe it's an hour. Like we really can't tell. I have no idea how far away that thing is.
And then we started hearing creepy sounds and we're like, what is that sound?
Yeah, what does that sound like? A grrr noise? And we're like, what is there like are there mountain lions here?
We went from a mountain lion to a goat to...
We think it's a bird.
We've settled on
Frog was in there.
A bird. Frog was in there. I think that we might be dehydrated.
So you think we can do this? You still think we're going to gun for the top?
I sat there and tried to talk you out of it, and then I just stared at it, and it talked me into it. Just looking at it talked me into it.
The mountain madness is getting up in your brain.
It's mountain man madness. It's a mirage.
Maybe the mountain's not there, man.
It's not.
It's all a simulation anyway.
Goes pretty far down, doesn't it? I told you.
It's not too bad. Can't possibly be more than 5-10 more minutes. We are not the first dudes here. It's possible there's a village up there from what I can tell in this area. Standing here at the bottom, looking up to the top, like the actual bottom of the beginning of this peak, it looks like it's kind of a long way. Looks mountainous.
We're still not there. When did you say 5 minutes?
It's a little bit steeper than it was a minute ago. Oh, yeah. By a little bit, I mean a lot. You still feeling clumsy?
Always.
This is seriously no joke. It's turned into like 4-limb rock climbing to get up this, just because these huge boulders you've got to climb over. And just
climbing, plural, rock.
Rock. He's yelling rocks climbing, not just rock climbing, because there's multiple rocks. And it's just really quite steep. And you got to be careful because a lot of these rocks are loose. When you're grabbing them, they're moving. We probably shouldn't have come up here. This is going to end with a headline in the newspapers. We made it to the top.
Yeah.
We really have no idea how long it took.
We argued about it. We totally argued about it.
I think it took about an hour and a half. I'm not 100% sure.
And I think it took 2.5 hours.
That's a vastly different amount of time.
It is, but I mean, like, I feel like it was just 1 hour more than what you thought based on, weirdly, we had to put time zones into this. We won't go into it. Yeah, so I feel like it took 2.5 hours. I think you're probably right, though, logically.
But we made it to the top, and it is absolutely stunning from the top of this hill. Yeah. Part of it is like, it's absolutely stunning. Part of it is that I feel accomplished because we just pulled over at the side of the road and we're like, that's a mountain I think we can climb. And we were right. I mean, we got to the top. We climbed it for sure. I don't know if we'll survive the way down, but so far so good.
We climbed it.
We did climb it. And there's a ton of little lakes out here in the landscape, and you can see the ocean, and then there's these range of mountains around the other direction.
And I was planning on taking us a drive around this mountain, and I can see the road that we would have gone on. I don't know if we're going to have time for it today because seriously, people, I have to go to work. I got to work today. It's Monday.
So, yeah, it's just, I don't know, like, high five?
You're all bloody.
I am all bloody. There's something that happened that we didn't tell you about. I slipped on some ice and fell and ripped up my hands, broke part of the camera. Nothing serious, it's replaceable. And, yeah, I'm a little bit bloody on the hands.
Yeah, that was
I hit my head pretty hard, too.
Yeah. I was worried, and I was just like, I don't know if we're going up or down. Either is strenuous, and you just hit your head.
I had just slipped on some ice like a moron. I shouldn't have stepped on it. Speaking of ice, did you see over here? There's a little lake where half the lake is icy and half the lake is not because the sunshine can get to it.
No, I just sat on a rock and dangled my feet for a little while over there and watched some cars go by. Gosh, that's the best thing about getting to the top of something. You dangle your feet. Ooh.
I could use a ham sandwich.
It's the best.
There's a little bit about coming down a mountain. It's actually harder than going up the mountain. Just something about like the angle and like having to get sure footing and stuff makes it a little bit trickier. And on these big rocks and stuff that we've got to climb down, it's a little bit sketchy. I mean, it's easier, I think, on the muscles in most cases, but just finding the place to put your foot and feel like you're not going to tumble down the mountain is the hard part.
I did it.
We did it. Climbed all the way to the top, we came all the way back down, and we're alive. And it only took us 2 Band-Aids.
Oh, but how long did it take us?
I may have misjudged my math a little bit. This time zones, y'all, it got really confusing.
It did, and you know who held their mathematical cool?
It took 2.5.
Me.
Took 2.5 hours to the top, right?
2.5 hours to the top.
And about an hour back down, I guess.
Yeah, hour 15.
Hour 15, something like that. So like we looked at it from the bottom, and I didn't really know how long it would take, but it didn't look like it was that far. But it turns out it was a little far.
Yeah, 11:40 to 3:20, 3:15-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I'm gonna try to see if we can figure out the altitude and stuff of that thing and put it up on the screen right now. If we can even figure out where it was.
We can find out some more information because obviously we
internet.
We wanna feel good about ourselves. And secondarily, we gotta go.
Yeah, I do.
Gotta work.
I'm starving. We're gonna bust up into some cornflakes, y'all.
Yeah.
Good news!
The Dacia Sandero! Oh, I wish we were driving it. Damn it.
So what do you think? It's like what, 5-10 minutes up to the top?
It's definitely going to be at least 30. I think 30. Now that I've learned how to gauge mountains properly.
We're gonna do this.
My legs hurt.
There's more than one. There's more than one of these magic things. It's so funny looking. Hey, pony. I don't have an apple, but you know, I don't have grass. That's the problem, really.
Oh yeah. Look at you, son.
Oh man.
Yeah. Whoa, whoa. I don't know whose hair is more majestic, his or Jack's.
Hi, pony. I think I love Scotland. Look how thick it is. Big, huge animal. In a small package. It's a funny contradiction. Look at the little nubbers. Look at his tiny little nubs. This would fit in the back of the car, dude. No joke.
Yeah, that would.
Is this one smaller than Jack, do you think?
I think so.
Really? Wow. All right, pony. Good to see you. We are headed a little further south today. The original route that when you pump into Google Maps said it was how far? Like an hour and a half or something like that?
155, I want to say.
155 in miles or kilometers?
In minutes.
Oh, in minutes? Okay. And then we decided that we were going to take the windy coastal road, which I think is like the optimal way. The coast here, it's not quite like a fjord system that's going on, but there's a lot of like ins and outs. So you have to go back and forth and stuff. But it makes for a really fantastic drive. And we've just popped out along the ocean here. You know how many minutes it was for the drive we're taking? It was like at least twice or maybe 3 times as long, right?
2:48.
Okay, so a little,
so it
little
added
more.
like a whole nother hour to go on this little route. Yeah.
I think that's absolutely worth it to just drive along and see how beautiful everything has been.
We turned down the road and I just got excited not knowing what's going to happen down this turn.
Yeah.
That's the Scottish Highlands.
Yeah, you never know what's going to be over the hill. You never know what's going to be around the corner.
No.
But you can bet pretty safely on ponies.
That's true.
That's pretty safe.
Ponies and deer.
Yeah, at nighttime anyways. Good Lord, those deer. Whew.
Called to see if we could up our insurance. No. Okay.
We need to get deer insurance, y'all.
We need deer insurance. We've been driving along the Gairloch Coastal Trail. So we've come to the namesake of it, which is Gairloch. And there's not many places to eat here. There's only 3 places to eat here. And we visited all of them. And we chose the place that you can't sit anywhere, so we're out here at the coast, which I think that's probably the best thing that could have happened because there's a really nice breeze and it's very, very sunny and it's pretty perfect. So sometimes the food that you choose forces you to be in a place that you wouldn't have necessarily chosen, but it's not bad by any means. And the food that I chose to get today was something that I thought I would already have eaten by now, having been in Scotland for almost 3 weeks, and it's a Lorne sausage roll. I'm not really sure what the difference between all the other sausages is, and it's not a link sausage, it is like a patty type of sausage, and I've been looking forward to it. I thought it was going to be in like our Scottish breakfast, but so far there's been really nowhere else for me to try it. Kind of reminds me of a bubbly Spam in there. It looks like they might have deep fried it. I'm not really sure because it looks crispy all over as opposed to just maybe grilled on the larger sides. But I'm gonna give it a try. It's got a meatloafness to it. And she did ask me if I wanted any sauces. And it might have been good to put, because I mean, you drown your meatloaf in ketchup. So probably would have been better with sauce, but I really wanted to just have a pure sausage moment. That did not sound right. Anywho, what did you get? Oh, I should say that the sausage is fine. I'd say it's not poppin'. It's not like an exciting sausage. It's not peppery or anything like that, but it's a good solid meat. Yeah.
I got something that's kind of just a standard, like it's not that exciting. I don't think this is necessarily a Scottish thing, but it's something that I've been seeing the whole time we've been in the United Kingdom. And I feel like I've seen it more in Scotland than I saw when we were in England, but it's called a toastie. And it's essentially a grilled cheese sandwich with sometimes not cheese and sometimes different types of fillings inside of it. And in this case, it's a pulled pork barbecue toastie. And I'm not sure if there's anything else in there except for just the pulled pork meat that they had. And I'm a sucker for pulled pork. I've noticed that I'm usually disappointed with it. I think I usually build up in my head this barbecue flavor is gonna be super, super strong, and then it's usually subdued. And I don't think it's ever bad, but I think that I overhype it in my mind every time I see it. I always order it like instinctively, unless there's a Reuben on the menu, and there wasn't. So this is where we landed. It's pretty good. I always feel like there should just be more barbecue sauce. Like I want it dripping in barbecue sauce. I mean, for like a little warm sandwich, sitting out here where we're at, it's like the perfect thing. I've got no complaints. They're pretty cheap too. They're like 2 pounds or something. And another thing of note that I did pick up, and I saw this when we went into the little shop, was a raspberry lemonade that specifically says it was handmade in Scotland with Scottish raspberries, and it's vibrant and tangy.
Did you know that raspberries are a more purchased frozen food than strawberries in America? Like here they get frozen raspberries.
I had no idea. Okay. So strawberries are more popular in America, but raspberries are more popular here. Is that what you're saying? Okay. All right, fair enough. I got no problem with the raspberry, man. The raspberry is a good berry. All right. It's got a really, really good color. I really like how strong that red is. And I like that it's something that's like from here. It's a bit carbonated. Whoa, it's really tangy. It's like not in grapefruit territory, but it's headed that way. And when you drink a soda, you expect kind of like a sweet thing. And there's a bit of a sweet undertone, but it's like a super, super, super like that kind of puckery, tangy lemonade with a splash of berry. I think it's damn good, actually. It's really good. It smells like what it tastes like. Like like you could just huff this and not ever have to drink it, and you'd be perfectly content because it's the same experience.
I forgot to mention the Scottish morning roll. This is a big thing here. You can go to most sandwich shops and you'll end up ordering something roll, and it's just going to be one of these Scottish morning rolls with whatever filling that you chose. And you can find these at the grocery store, 6 to a pack. And I am imagining in my head that this is what all Scottish people eat in the morning. They just get the roll out, and then whatever meat or like an egg in the fridge is what they eat. And I'm sure that's not really what happens, but that's what I imagine. And then they've got that porridge that I see at the supermarket that has like the man in the kilt. Yeah, they got that and this. That's what they're eating for breakfast. Oh, I also put some baked beans on it. Life is good now.
Back at that little town where we got our lunch sandwiches, they also had a big plate full of something, and I look at the word and I was like, Katie, what is that word? And it's like bananoffee or something. It's the word banana and toffee squished together. And she was like, oh, that's the thing I wanted to try. And they were in cupcake format, and I don't think they're normally in cupcake format, but in this case, that's like, we're kind of in, well, I don't know, Katie, but I'm kind of into cupcakes lately just because I think it's like amazing. You can have a cake and then like you just make it small. And then it's like personal size. I guess
it's a personal pan pizza?
Yeah, it's a personal pancake, personal sized pancake or whatever. That's not a pancake. This is really complicated. But I love, love, love bananas. Like, bananas are the best thing in the world. And I'm kind of down on toffee too. Like, I just kind of like that jive that toffee can have. I don't really know a whole lot about it, but every time I've experienced it, I've been like, that's all right. So they've taken two things that I think are pretty sweet, and they've combined them together. And we have pulled over at this little rest area looking over this lake with these amazing mountains. And when we pulled in, there's just like a hill with a ramp on it. So we just drove our car up the ramp because of course you're gonna do that. And we're parked here like looking at this beautiful mountain and stuff, and the whole thing is pretty majestic. And I got a banana product here in my hand. So I can't think of a way to improve things. And you might be thinking like, what is he doing with the fork? And it's because Katie's still on this fika thing that we got. And she thinks that every time you do fika, you got to use a utensil. Oh, I got it. Don't worry. Don't you worry.
Okay, I was worried.
There we go. All right. It's got, it's like a really good smelling banana bread. Dude. Those ladies at that sandwich place making these banana offie, whatever. Dude, they're killing it. Like, their game is strong. I'm actually pretty glad that was the only place that was like reasonable to eat at, because it pushed us in there and then we ended up with this. We only got one though, which is a bit of an issue, because I'm sure you probably want to try some, right?
Yeah?
That might be a problem.
We've been riding along for a little bit and just seeing smoke in the sky. And this is not the only area that we can see smoke from, but it is a large area that we can see smoke from. And we've come as close as we can get to the actual fire. And now we're trying to figure out, is it controlled? Is it not controlled? My guess is it's controlled. I just think that it's got kind of a line going, kinda, and...
I don't see any dudes, and it's quite windy.
And in my mind, I'm like, it's cold. You can't have fire when it's cold. And then I just sat there, I was like, don't say it out loud. Sounds stupid. Thanks to our supporters on Patreon, whom without these videos wouldn't exist. If you'd like to help us make more videos, links to Patreon are down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss the next one exploring the beautiful Isle of Skye. Also, be sure to check us out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook.